around this table in so many different states and homes. This is like part of where your relationship is built and grown and fellowship happens.
Good morning, guys. Mary, this is a little behind the scenes of a little joke Mary likes to play on me pretty often. Okay, we'll have our, okay, first of all, top of the morning to you. It's Christmas season here in the Frey house, which means we started the day by asking
Intentionally staying in bed with our animals and playing some Christmas music.
We have this goal that throughout the Christmas season, we'll start the day with some Christmassy festivities, like watching 20 minutes of Christmas movie. Today we just played some Christmas music and it was fun. Hey, okay, so the joke that Mary plays on me is we came down, we had our coffee, we sat by the fire, but coffee gets the bowels moving. And so often I'll have to use the restroom. Why am I telling this to the internet? Because Mary has this joke. When I'm going to the bathroom, she'll often pretend that she's vlogging. And she'll be like, hey guys, Peter's in the bathroom pooping his guts out.
Just to make him a little nervous in there.
And she's not actually vlogging, but then I'm actually telling you this, so I guess your joke is working on me to embarrass me. Anyways, real life here on the Frey Life.
So yesterday I tried to set up the camera and film because I transformed our kitchen table. The camera died. There was no other battery. I gave up. But here's the final review.
Here you go. I was taking a little nap on the couch.
Yes, it was very cute.
And I woke up to find it felt like it was Thanksgiving. So remind me of the story of this.
This is our cornucopia.
We talk about it every year. Where'd it come from?
From Hearth and Plow.
Yeah, we get that magazine.
Yes.
Why do they send that?
I don't know. So it came in a gourd boat. This is like a ceramic bowl boat. But anyway,
it was something you had your eyes on?
Yeah. Mom and I was on a business trip, aka babysitting business trip.
Yes, that's right.
And she met me there, and then like when I had a break or something, we went to this store, and it was like this time of year, and I saw this across the store, and we went over and looked at it, and I just needed it, and she got it for me.
How do they make those?
So it's a real gourd. They're all real gourds. This is a good example where they dried it out, they drilled the holes, and listen. That's the like leftover gourd guts.
Oh, so dried gourd guts inside. Wow.
And then they varnished them.
That is so cool. Beautiful. Well, did they paint them or is that the natural colors?
I think those are the...
I bet they... I don't know.
It's a good question. But anyway, so it's a few weeks till Thanksgiving, which means it's a few weeks till Oliver's birthday.
Ooh, birthday boy.
And, you know, I like to keep it a little classy and a little...
cheesy?
Not as classy.
Tacky?
Can you see the side? Almost like a cardboard turkey.
Cardboard turkey, you know?
This reminds me of our first 6 months of marriage.
Oh, yes.
I tried to decorate the table for every occasion. Pink stuff for...
I forgot about that.
Pink stuff for Valentine's Day. We got married at the beginning of January, so about a month later, it was Valentine's Day, so I got all my pink tablecloths out and decorated, and maybe I'll have to start doing that again.
We were just talking about this yesterday. One of the great joys of, I think, this piece of furniture that has come with us in all our years of marriage is this dining room table right here. We bought this before we got married. I think so. We bought it on Craigslist in our hometown, and it's just a simple pine table. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it seems like it could have come from IKEA, but I don't actually know.
So I don't know, but
it's either solid pine. Yeah.
Either way, the previous owner had repainted it.
Her dad had painted it for her.
Yes. So her dad painted the backs black and the legs of the table black.
Was the top of it yellow? I think the top was black as well.
You're right.
The table was completely painted black, but I have a feeling the color of the table originally was not this, because I refinished the seats. It was a yellow...
Classic yellow pine.
Classic yellow pine, like glossy seats. Yeah. And so when we first got it, I sanded the seats, I think. Did I? Or did we? No. We just had them as yellow for many years. Yeah.
Actually, you sanded them. I think there's footage of that. I think you did it at your mom's house before we moved to Grafton.
Okay. Oh, yes. I think that's right. Before we moved to the last place we lived in, Massachusetts.
And you sanded the top of the table in Massachusetts.
Before we moved here.
Yes.
Because we knew, like, it's kind of gray tones in this house. Decreasingly so. I think we've added pops of color like the navy wall and things. But we felt like we wanted to keep this table. So I'd say it's one of the great joys of our marriage, because I don't know that we'll ever be able to get rid of this dining room table, because it's just trekked with us to all the places we've lived. Yes. Well, not all the places we've lived, but we've kept it either in storage or at the places we've lived. And it's like this simple, no frills table, and we love it. So I refinished the top of it and the tops of the chairs so that they would no longer be orangey. And I did this gray, like whitewashed stain on it. And I think it's funny because I have thought about in the last year, like, I wonder if we should get a new dining room table. But then when I think about getting rid of this one, I kind of get sad. Yeah. And I'm not generally like a sentimental hang on to things. I'm happy to, like, let's sell it and get something different. But I think because we got it before we got married, and it's got memories wrapped up in it, and I kind of take joy in having a simple table.
Yeah, and like around this table in so many different states and homes and apartments and whatever it might be, this is like part of where your relationship is built and grown and fellowship happens. Was it this table? I'm thinking of our second 6 months. So that first year, we lived for 6 months in the bottom half of somebody's house. Yeah. And then the second 6 months, we lived in the bottom half of a different house. We were taking care of an elderly man. And I can think of when we had a Saturday morning small group breakfast, like with people from our church, and we lined up a whole bunch of tables down in that basement.
Wait, a small group breakfast?
It was like Ben and Kat.
Yeah.
And
Will and Catherine and
Lauren and...
Yeah, so we would have lined up this table and I don't know what else though.
Probably some strange side tables or something. Just put a bunch of tables together.
And we made a long table?
Long table for breakfast.
That is so fun, yes.
And like...
Those were the people we did life with in those early years of marriage. And
yeah.
It is interesting. Tables play an important place in relationships. Like, well, a table being representative of a meal. And so when you gather around a table, there's something deeply connecting there.
Not just a meal. Other things make you spend hours and hours and hours at a table, like a puzzle.
True.
Craft projects, painting. Some of my paintings, like that bluebird right here,
Which one?
I mean, this blue jay
Oh yeah.
was
yeah.
painted at this seat where you're sitting. And just,
fun.
you know, like hours and hours and yeah. So we are reminiscing of the impact of this table in our life. And here we are at another Thanksgiving at this table, and
It's not Thanksgiving yet, but
in a couple weeks.
yeah, a few weeks.
A season of giving thanks.
Yes. What are you thankful for today? I'm thankful for this table.
I think one of the outcomes of stability and health is a feeling of settledness. Because in my sick years, it was constantly stirred up, unsettled.
Yeah.
Because I remember one day laying on that bed downstairs in our Massachusetts house, laying in that downstairs bed by the sunny bay window and just like soaking it up and loving it. And then getting a call that I needed to go to the hospital. And everything in me wanted to stay right there in that bed. And I couldn't. I didn't have a choice. I had to get up. I had to go. And so this season of stability has just brought such a settled feeling.
Yeah.
And also because I'm stable, travel can happen more. So it's funny that like settledness can include travel, because travel happens on your own decision and timing.
Yeah.
It's not like having to be told to go to the hospital or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just a feeling of settled.
Yeah, that's good. That reminds me, like, a feeling of settled. So a while back, well, I guess we can soon put up our Christmas tree sign. We've always felt like we need something above these windows, because there's that gap above that, I don't know, felt like it needed something to fill that space. And we found this sign, and we were like, that fits, welcome to our place. But I always thought it was kind of generic, like that's that saying, our place. But as you talk about feeling settled, I listened to a book this past week. It's a new book called The God of the Garden. And he talks about places. And I kind of have a new meaning for that sign, because he describes a place. This is my rephrasing of what the book says, but a place is where a space that is tied to stories. And yeah.
We could make a wall decal that's like the definition of place right next to that. You know, like it's
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm totally like rephrasing that into my own interpretation of what the book said, but I think like this is our place. And like even talking about, like it seems like we're just having a random conversation about a table this morning, but it's really not this pine table that we're talking about. We're talking about the stories that make this table special.
Yeah. And
like I kind of have a new meaning for that. Welcome to our place.
Yeah.
This space that is filled with our stories.
Yeah.
And
you guys are part of that story. You have been for 7 years, or 7 or 8 years?
We're like at 7.5 years.
7.5 years of sharing our stories, pieces of our stories. Not the entirety. That's not possible or healthy.
Yeah.
But we share pieces, and we thank you for coming with us and for sharing pieces of your stories as well. So if you feel inclined to, we'd love to read a bit of your story in the comments. So you can go ahead and scroll down and share a piece of your story with us. And as always,
we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, you guys.
Good night.
Oh, he knew. He knew what was coming. Good night.